Since the dawn of video games, designers have understood one core philosophy. If the game isn't fun, why play it? A lot of things go into the mixing pot when you're trying to make a game inherently fun, but ultimately it just boils down to intelligent design choice. You can't just do a palette swap of Pac-Man and call it Red Pac-Man. That doesn't fly around here. One trick developers really use to buff up a game's appearance is pre-rendered graphics. You might have heard your friends mention that in conversations, and maybe you don't really know exactly what that is. Well, I'm about to break it down for you, and don't be afraid. This is a safe place. Pre-rendered graphics had a heavy hand in modern techniques used by many video game developers. Not only were they a way to really wow your audience, they also set consumer expectations at a pretty high bar after their mainstream inception. The technique has been around for a long time, the first game using it being Xevious, produced and released by Namco in 1982 for arcades around the world. It wasn't until the 90s era of arcades and home consoles that the tech really began to change things. The idea behind pre-rendered graphics is actually very simple. Most video game hardware like the Super Nintendo or arcade JAMA boards were limited by certain constraints. Let's take a look at Super Mario World, for example. Man, this game was good. Anyways, Super Mario World was a marvel of its time. It really showed off all the gorgeous colors that the Super Nintendo was capable of. Customers were really able to get a firm grasp of the power and capabilities of the Super Nintendo just by experiencing this game. Then, just 4 years later, something monumental happened. Legendary video game development company Rare released a video game featuring none other than Mario's longtime furry nemesis, Donkey Kong. Not only did they manage to take a character that was solely personified as a villain up until that point and make him likable, they also were somehow able to do the impossible on the Super Nintendo hardware by portraying most of the game in a super smooth 3D look. So let's rewind just 1 year before Donkey Kong Country for a brief moment. In 1993, Nintendo themselves released the original Starfox game on the Super Nintendo. That game featured a full 3D world that was arguably ugly, yet impressive at the same time. However, it ran like booty hole. Sluggish, choppy, slow. These are all just a few words that some people would use to describe Starfox. It was still quite the experience, but it never felt like the Super Nintendo was really able to handle the 3D visuals. Then here came Donkey Kong, just 1 short year later, running smooth as butter with all its seemingly far more detailed visual 3D presentation. Can you guess what the magic ingredient is here? Pre-rendered graphics. You see, Rare was a smart bunch of developers. They knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that their vision of what Donkey Kong Country should be would not even come close to running on the Super Nintendo. So they used a little voodoo magic to trick their audience into thinking they were playing a 3D game. A high-powered computer was utilized to create full 3D models of the characters and objects in the game. Then Rare took pictures of them performing all of their actions. It made everything look like a true 3D object and let the Super Nintendo simply display their pictures. It's a genius move that we have seen many times in this day and age. Have you ever seen all those gorgeous cinematic scenes in Final Fantasy games? They look nothing like the actual game. It's a pre-rendered movie that can simply be played back like a DVD would. The best example of pre-rendered graphics in the 90s actually did not come from a video game at all. It was seen worldwide in Pixar's fantastic Toy Story movie. The entire movie was created on several computers and played back slowly so that each scene could display much better visual quality than any computer normally would under regular circumstances. The captured video is then sped up to produce spectacular results. The entire idea behind the concept is to take all the heavy lifting work off of the computer chip and let it play back gorgeous visuals as if they were just movie or picture files. So now you know the secret. Next time your friends mention pre-rendered graphics, you're more than likely going to have a better grasp of the concept than they do. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, make sure to give me a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel for notifications when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching.